What's up, YouTube? This is Man of Dorks here. Jeremy wanted to bring you a deck profile as promised of my Gishath deck. I'm going to go through all the cards that I run and explain why I run them, and hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe of any changes you would make. And without further ado, let's get along with the video. Of course, my commander is Gishath. Vigilance, Trample, Haste. When Gishath hits, I look at the top cards equal to the amount of damage he did. And any dinosaurs that are revealed with that, he brings them out for free of charge. So my creature package, my 2-drops are Interpret Paleologist, Dinosaur Egg, Dockside Extortionist, and Galt of the Primal Hunger. The reason why he's in the 2-drop is because normally I have a creature of substantial power to make him a 2-drop. So Dockside Extortionist, no explanation. He creates treasures on ETB, and that helps fuel my dinosaurs to get them up faster. Interpret Paleologist is a mana dork with exile a target card from a graveyard, and I may cast dinosaur spells that were exiled with this, and they enter with finality counter on it, and if they would leave the field, they're exiled instead. Dinosaur Egg is Evolve. 0/3, so with Evolve, whenever a creature bigger than its power enters the battlefield, it gets a 1/1 counter. And then whenever my Dinosaur Egg dies, I discover X, where X is its toughness. And that's really useful. It's another version of Cascading. So, my 3-drops. Hatali, the Poet of Unity. Pregnus Hammerskull. Wayward Swordtooth, Kinjali Sunwing, and Thrashing Brotodon. Wayward Swordtooth has Ascend, so he can't attack or block unless I have the Ascend active, which is City's Blessing, and he lets me play additional lands on each one of my turns. Hammerskull is just a 3-drop 6/6, but if he attacks without a dinosaur attacking alongside of him, he gets a stun, but it's well worth the price you pay for a beater for a 3-drop. Thrashing Brotodon, it's Artifact and Enchantment Hate, and it's a 3/4 body. Then we have Kinjali Sunwing, which is Creature Hate. Creatures my opponents control enter the battlefield tapped, and it's a flyer 2/3 body. Hatali, the Poet of Unity, when she enters, I may search my deck for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, or no, not battlefield, sorry, hand, and then shuffle. And it has a transformation, which cost either red-white, 2 red over to red white, and 3 generic to transform into Roar of the Fifth People, which when it's a saga, so on its first stage, I'll get 2 3/3 green dinos. Stage 2, all my dinosaurs are mana dorks for the 3 colors I play. Stage 3, I search my deck for a dinosaur, reveal it, put it to my hand, then shuffle. And stage 4, all my dinosaurs I control get double strike and trample until the end of the turn. So she's really powerful if I'm able to get her last effect off. On to the 4-drops. Alta the Nest Tender, Hulking Raptor, and Roaming Throne. These are my 4-drops. Roaming Throne, of course, for dinosaurs, I get additional triggers of those creature types. He has Ward 2. And he's basically a changeling in a sense. Hulking Raptor, at the beginning of my pre-combat main phase, I automatically get 2 green, so he's a mana dork. That's a 5/3 body. And that is a triggered ability, so it would proc again with Roaming Throne, giving me 4 mana. Then I have my Alta Polini the Nest Tender, creates a 0/1 egg green token at the cost of 2 generic and 2 generic and a tap. And they have Defender. Whenever an egg I control would die, I reveal the top card of my library. If it's a creature, I put the creature on the battlefield and put the rest on the bottom. That is my 4-drops of my creatures. On to 5-drops. Polini's Hatcher, Panthalaza, the Sun's Favorite, and Wrathful Raptors, Swooping Petrodon, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Temple Altasar, Bonehorde Dracosaur, Regisaur Alpha, These are my 5 drops. So with these guys, each one brings their own utility to the table. Wrathful Raptors, you hurt my dinosaurs. They deal that much damage to any target that isn't a dinosaur, whether that be player or creature. Then we got Temple Altasar. If a source would deal damage to any other dinosaurs I control but Temple Altasar, it prevents all but 1 damage. Godzilla has Trample, and lethal damage dealt to my creatures has to be formed in toughness. So it's a battle of power versus my toughness. And a lot of my dinosaurs have pretty high toughness. There's a few that don't, but overall it's helped me quite a bit. Regisaur Alpha, as you've seen in one of my other games, it gives my dinosaurs haste, except for him, and he gives me a 3/3 green dinosaur token with Trample on entering of the battlefield. Then we got Pantalaza, the Sun's Favored. When it enters or another dinosaur enters the battlefield under my control, I discover X, where X is that creature's toughness. I can only do that once each turn, so basically a cascade in a sense. And I have the option to either put it in my hand or on the field. Palini's Hatcher is another dinosaur haste enabler. So other dinosaurs get haste. He's 5/3. When he enters the battlefield, it creates 2 green dinosaur egg tokens. And at the beginning of my combat, I may, if I control 1 or more eggs, I may sacrifice an egg and create a 3/3 green dinosaur. So that also works with my Hatcher to look at the top card and hopefully get another bigger dinosaur. Then we have Bonehorde Dracosaur. Flying First Strike. At the beginning of my upkeep, I exile the top 2 cards of my library, and I may play them this turn. If I exiled a land card this way, I get a 3/1 red dinosaur. And if I exile a non-land, I get a treasure token. So it gives me access to the top 2 cards of my deck. It can potentially give me ramp and more bodies to swarm or protect. And those will be the 5. The 6 drops consist of Regal Behemoth, Earthshaker Dreadmaw, Ravenous Tyrannosaurus, Atali the Primal Storm, and those will be my 6s. So, Regal Behemoth, when it enters the battlefield, I become the Monarch, and whenever I'm the Monarch, my tap a land, I may add an additional mana of any one color. Earthshaker Dreadmaw, Trample 6/6, when it enters the battlefield, I draw equal to the amount of dinosaurs that I control. Atali the Primal Storm, when it attacks, each player exiles the top card of their deck, and if it's a spell, I may cast them for free. And then we have Ravenous Tyrannosaurus. It has Devour 3, so as it enters, I sacrifice creatures, and for each creature I sacrifice, he gets 3 1/1 counters. And whenever he attacks, it deals damage to any creature of my choice of the defending player, and any excess damage is dealt to the player. So it's an effect with Trample. And that does for the 6 drops. The 7 drops consist of Galta and Mavrin, Atali the Primal Conqueror, Verdant Sun's Avatar, and Silverclad Ferociodons, Tyrannix Rex. These are my 7 drops. So we'll start with Tyrannix Rex. No explanations really need. He can't be countered. He is a Trampler, Ward 4, Haste, and Toxic 4. So it gives me a potential poison win condition. And overall, he's a nice beat stick that at 8/8. So he's great in my deck, great to cheat out, helps win games. Silverclad Ferociodons. So whenever Silverclad Ferociodons is dealt damage, each opponent sacrifices a permanent. So it's basically a smaller version of Phyrexian Obliterator. And except it's stronger in the fact that in a pod game, if one person damages it, every opponent must sacrifice a permanent. Verdant Sun's Avatar, when it enters the battlefield or another creature enters the battlefield under my control, I gain life equal to that creature's toughness. So it just keeps me alive and it gives me great survivability. Atali the Primal Conqueror is Trample 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles top cards of their deck until they exile a non-land card. I may cast that for free. And then it also has a transformation state at 1 green or Phyrexian 2 life and 9 colorless. And it transforms into Atali, the Primal Sickness. So it has Trample Indestructible. It's 11/11. And when it deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. So it gets Infect. So it's another poison win con if I need to do it. But most of the time I just use him for his ETB to exile. That would be the 7s. Here comes the 8 drops. 8 drops consist of Zepelia, the Primal Dawn, Awakening of the Sun's Avatar, Galta, the Stampede Tyrant. These are my 8 drops. Zepelia, the Primal Dawn, is a flyer, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible for 8 body. It's just good for chumping or flying over something. It's overall great damage dealer. Awakening the Sun's Avatar is a 7/7 body with, when it enters the battlefield, if I cast it from my hand, it board wipes all non-dinosaur creatures. And then Galta, the Stampede Tyrant, when it enters the battlefield, I may put any number of creatures from my hand onto the battlefield. There's no need to explain why that's good. And it is a 12/12 Trampler. The 9 drops. The Tarask and Zakama, the Primal Calamity. The Tarask, if I cast it, it has ward 10. And then whenever it attacks, it fights a creature defending player controls. So it's a great creature hate, and it's hard to get rid of by targeting with ward 10 if I cast it. Most of the time I'll cheat it in just to use creature hate. Zakama, the Primal Calamity, it has Vigilance, Reach, Trample. When it enters the battlefield, if I cast it, it untaps all my lands, so that's great. It's a 9-drop for free if I have 9 lands. And it has 1 red, 2 generic to deal 3 damage to any target, 1 green, 2 generic to destroy artifact or enchantment, and then 1 white, 2 generic to gain 3 life. Utility at its finest in terms of power of creatures. So now we are on to my instant spells. My 1-drops consist of Enlightened Tutor, Swords of Plowshares, Path to Exile. So of course, Enlightened Tutor just fetch my artifact or enchantment and put it on top. It's self-explanatory. Swords to Plowshares is creatures hate, and Path to Exile also creature hate. My 2-drops consist of Brought Back, Heroic Intervention, Everybody Lives. These are my 2-drops. So Everybody Lives, all creatures get hexproof and indestructible till the end of the turn. Players gain hexproof until the end of the turn. Players can not lose life this turn, and players cannot lose the game or win the game this turn. So it's completely, no one's doing anything to advance the game. It's a good survivability card for a 2-drop, and it can get you out of a tight spot. Heroic Intervention is a 1 green, 1 generic. A really great staple in a green deck. Permanents I control get hexproof and indestructible till the end of the turn, so it's good survivability. And then, excuse me, Brought Back is another good survivability and recursion card. Choose up to 2 target permanents that were in my graveyard that were put there this turn, and I return them to the battlefield tapped. So if I get board wiped and I brought back, I can bring back like a Tully, the Primal Conqueror, exile card. It's just, or an enchantment or artifact. Anything I lose, I can use this to get it back if I need be. My 3-drop spells instance are Chaos Warp, Deflecting Swat, Flawless Maneuver, Beast Within. Okay. Yep. So these are my 3-drop instants. Beast Within, hit any permanent, land, creature, artifact, whatever, and give them a 3/3 beast. And it's 1 green, 2 generic. Flawless Maneuver, 1 white, 2 generic. If I control my commander, it's free. Creatures I control get indestructible to the end of the turn, so survivability. Then I have Chaos Warp, which is hate to a permanent that I don't want on the battlefield, and they can end up gaining something good or not gain anything at all. And then Deflecting Swat is protection. If someone tries to hit me with a spell or ability, I can say no. Now my sorceries consist of my only 2-drop. Oh, why is that? That is not supposed to be. Yeah, that's my 2-drop. Yep. So Rampant Growth is my only 2-drop sorcery. Search my deck for a basic land, put it on battlefield tap. So it's land fetch. My 3-drops of sorceries consist of Wheel of Fortune, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach. Wheel of Fortune, if I lack cards in my hand, everyone drops and draws. 7, and it's 1 red, 2 generic, really cheap cost for that kind of effect. Cultivate and Kodama's Reach both do very similar effects. Searching for a basic, put one on the field, the other into my hand. So, helps ramp out my lands. All right, we're going to 4-drop sorceries. We have Savage Order. Savage Order, as an additional cost, I sacrifice a creature of 4 power on its cast, and I search my deck for any dinosaur card and put it onto the battlefield, shuffle my deck, and that dinosaur gains indestructible until my next turn. So it's great for sacrificing like one of my egg tokens and getting something bigger and stronger that can help me throughout the game. And then my highest cost sorcery, Blasphemous Act, which is board wipe. And it combos well with my Wrathful Raptors. If I have 6 dinosaurs and deals 13 damage to all 6 of them, I'm hitting players for that damage. And of course, it's cost less for equal amount of creatures are on the battlefield. So it can be really cheap to pull off. Artifacts, I run my 0 drops, Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, Chrome Mox, Mox Amber. I play the high-powered artifacts. They help me get Gishath out faster, or they help me play bigger cards relatively quick by turn 2, turn 3, if need be. We had a game recently where I did turn 2 Gishath and start swinging. So, Mox Amber, of course, add 1 mana among any legendary creatures or planeswalkers you control. Chrome Mox, imprint, exile a card when I cast this. It can produce 1 mana of any color that is on the CMC of that card I exiled. Jeweled Lotus is Black Lotus for commander. Sacrifice it, add 3 mana of any 1 color only to cast your commander. And of course, Mana Crypt, no explanation needed. It's a 0-drop Soul Ring that has the potential to hurt me. My 1-drops are Soul Ring and Dino DNA. Soul Ring, self-explanatory. We already know why we run Soul Ring. It should be banned. Dino DNA is a very great card for a 1-drop. I pay 1 generic, tap it, and only use that effect as a sorcery. I exile a target creature from any graveyard, and then I may pay 6 generic to create a token that is a copy of card that it was exiled, only it's a 6/6 green dinosaur with trample, and I can only use that ability as a sorcery as well. So if my opponent has big creatures in the grave, I can grab them out, get their effects, and make them dinosaurs. My 2-drops is only 1, the Arcane Signet, another mana rock to help consistently keep me going. Then my 3-drops, another mana rock, Chromatic Lantern, gives all my lands whatever color I need them to be, and it also produces 1 of the rainbow colors. 4-drops, the 1 ring. And it's just a staple. It gives me protection for anything, and it can draw me a bunch of cards. And it can help me survive. All right. And then finally, Skullspore Nexus. This costs X less, where X is the total power, or greatest power among creatures I control. So if I have a 6-drop, it costs 6 less, so it's only a 2-drop. Whenever 1 or more non-token creatures would die, I get a green fungus dinosaur token with power and toughness equal to the total power and toughness of those creatures, or power of those creatures. So it gets X equal to the amount of power. So, and then I have pay 2 generic, tap it, double target creature's power until the end of the turn. All right, enchantments, my 1-drop is Land Tax. The reason why I run Land Tax is because I do run a little bit more basic lands than others, and it helps me get land advantage at an early stage in the game. All right, 3-drops. Poetic Ingenuity and Welcome to, well, of course, Jurassic Park. So whenever I have Poet of Ingenuity on the board, whenever 1 or more dinosaurs I control attack, I get that many treasure tokens. And then whenever I cast an artifact spell, I get a 3/1 dinosaur. And that can only happen once each turn. Welcome to is a saga, so it is artifact hate for my opponents. For each opponent, up to 1 target non-creature artifact they control becomes a 0/4 wall artifact creature with defender for as long as I control this saga. At stage 2, create a 3/3 green dinosaur token with trample. It gains haste until the end of the turn. And then at stage 3, destroy all walls and exile the saga and return to the battlefield transformed under my control. So if this survives, it will board wipe all the cards it chose, and then it transforms into Gaia's Cradle, and it gives all my dinosaurs escape, and escape equal to their mana cost, plus 3, exile 3 cards from my graveyard. So I can play my creatures from the graveyard by exiling 3 and their mana cost. So it adds consistency, recursion, and it's a great land to have. My 4-drop enchantments is Smothering Tithe and Greater Good. Smothering Tithe, of course, gives my opponent the option to pay 2 when they draw a card. Otherwise, I get more treasure. So if they're in a bind and need their land, they're not going to pay the 2, and that gives me more ramp. Or if they do pay the 2, that's less land they have to work with to combat me. And then Greater Good, excuse me, sacrifice a creature. I draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, and then discard 3. So with that, I can have a big dinosaur, draw 7 cards, drop 3, and combo that with Skull Spore. I'd get a token replacing that dinosaur. All right, my land package. My special lands are Command Tower, Cavern of Souls, Gaia's Cradle, Ancient Tomb, Reliquary Tower, Rogue's Passage, and Diamond Valley. So this is my best lands that I can use. We got Reliquary Tower, no maximum hand size. Diamond Valley, I tap to sacrifice a creature in exchange for a number of life equal to the toughness of that. So with my eggs, I could sacrifice them, gain some life, and potentially get another creature off of it. Or use a creature to block and then sacrifice it to gain life, and I take no damage from that block. Then we got Rogue's Passage. Pay 4 generic, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Use that on Gishath, and it's just nasty. And it's 1 generic. Then we got Ancient Tomb. Tap, add 2 colorless mana to my mana pool, and it deals 2 damage to me. So it's a Soul Ring in the form of land. Gaia's Cradle adds green mana for each creature I control. Cavern of Souls makes my dinosaurs uncounterable. And then Command Tower, of course, is the Rainbow Land. Next is my fetch lands. Adrian Mesa, Windswept Hearth, Wooded Foothills, Flooded Strand, Misty Rainforest. Those are my fetches. 1 life, search for a whatever they state, island, forest, island, plains, forest, mountain, forest, plains, and plains, mountain. I run 3 of the alpha duels. Plateau, it's a mountain and a plains, counts as both, so it can be searched by those effects. Savannah, it is a plains forest, it can be searched for them searching for a forest or plains. And of course Taiga, which is a green-red, and it also can be searched. And these do not enter tapped, so that's great to have. Next, my shock lands. Temple Garden, Stomping Ground, and Sacred Foundry. All can enter tapped unless I pay 2 life. Worth the cost if I need be, or if it's my first turn, I can just play it tapped and not lose life. And they're searchable because they have the landmark names on them. And my basic land package. I run 6 forest, 5 mountain, and 5 plains. Just to make up my search and utility, and I could swap them out for more check lands or fast lands, or any kind of other land that would give me something else, but I do prefer to use a little bit more basics, just so I don't have to worry about waiting a turn to do something. But that's my opinion. You're welcome to play any other lands you like. Please comment, like, and tell me what you would change with the deck. There's 1 card I do not have that people have told me to get, and I haven't got it yet, which is Sunfrill Imitator, which when it attacks, it becomes a copy of a dinosaur, which you'd use it on Gishath. Only it's still Sunfrill and has all the effects of Gishath. But other than that, that is my Gishath deck. Please like, comment, subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we look forward to bringing you more content. And you guys have a good night. Thank you.